Hey guys, welcome to Sippin Spillin with Syd from 3 Mississippi. As I film this, it is a beautiful, blessed Easter Sunday. I hope you were able to spend it with your friends and family and had a wonderful holiday, and many continue to have the day off on Monday today and celebrate with their friends and family. And I know Frankie doesn't have school, they have Easter Monday off, which is wonderful. So the kids get to have a couple extra sleepovers and do some extra fun stuff. They don't have youth group tonight like they normally do on Sundays. So the girls, her friend Morgan is spending the night. Frankie spent the night there night before last, and we are kind of putting them to work a little bit was the agreement. I was cleaning out the garage and getting some boxes that we'd put in there during all the rains for starting a burn pile, and they were helping with moving some limbs and things. That'll actually be coming up on Friday's video this week. Hey Bunk. And I'm gonna be gone. I leave on Thursday, so I'll be here for this week's live and I'll be back by next week's live, but in between I'll be gone. And I'll be in California visiting some friends and family, and Morgan's mother, actually Beth, who you've seen or heard us talk about a time or two, is our friend out here who's more like family. She's actually coming with me because she's never been to California, to the West Coast, and she was like, I want to go and I want to like see where you came from. And I think people have an idea of what California is or what certain parts of it are, and she saw some footage that we had filmed kind of around the town and stuff, and she was like, wow, kind of looks a lot like Houston. Like the people seem a lot like very similar. And I'm like, yeah, I told you, that's why I wasn't in such a culture shock when I got here like everybody thought I was gonna be, because it was really not that different. Main Street Ramona didn't look a whole lot different from Main Street Houston. So I'm excited still to like take her back home, and she's excited to dip her toes in the Pacific Ocean and get sand, I guess, all over, because that's what happens when you're near sand. But ironically, as it would be, we're supposed to have beautiful, amazing weather this whole next week and a half while we're gone here. And then in San Diego is like typical April weather, which is like kind of overcast and a little chilly. So in preparation for May gray leading into June gloom, for those of you from California, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I still have so much to do before I leave. Have not packed. I've got laundry to do. I gotta clean. I got some errands I gotta run. I gotta make sure they got enough food in this house to because while we are preppers and we do have, canned stuff on the shelf, and Mike is capable of cooking and all of that, I still have to make sure that like there's some fresh veggies in there, or there's some frozen, like I always have frozen veggies and stuff like that, but he likes to get in there and get creative, and so I got to make sure I got certain things in the house for them, so they'll be happy while I'm not here. And if I keep stuff in the house for them, then I don't have to be as worried about them going to the store and buying just nothing but like Twinkies and cans of chili. So I'm trying to keep stuff in the house that I know that they can handle, that is not horribly bad for them or going to create such a biohazard because of the gas that will be leaking from this area, that I just want to cover my bases basically while I'm gone. I'm nervous to leave them. Well, we just got these 50 meat birds in. I've got my goslings in there in the brooder still. We're still working to get the chicken coop done. They made a lot of progress yesterday, which you'll see in an upcoming video as well, with getting all of the wiring around the outside and one of the gates in. Still needs some work before birds can go out there, unfortunately, which I thought was going to happen this afternoon with Frankie and Morgan being here, and that was the caveat, was they begged to have another sleepover, and I said, look, I have a lot of work to do, and I have a lot of work to do tomorrow. If you guys want to have a sleepover again this week, you're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to work for it. And you're going to have to do a few things for me to help lighten my load if you're going to spend the night. And they were like, okay, yeah, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, and honestly, they had a good time. They were hauling branches and doing stuff, and they got to swim in the pond earlier for a while. I mean, they had the whole first half of the day. They got to have fun. I mean, yeah, we went to church, and then they're both in the choir at church, and then we had Sunday lunch, and then they went over to Allen's Pond and went swimming, and they were yucking it up. So they need to get a little work in, and so by the time we got back here, it was like almost 3:00 by the time they started working, and right now it's probably about 5. It's closer to 6 now. So they'll come in probably in the next hour 15 minutes or so. Mike's he's out there mowing right now. And they didn't really do anything on the coop today like I thought they were gonna do. But that happens sometimes. There's a bunch of things that were like, you have a bunch of little things, and then you do all those little things, and while you're doing the one little thing, another little thing grabs your attention, and you're like, butterfly, and you gotta go do that, and then before you know it, the first thing isn't done, and whatever. Anyway, that's what happened with all of us today, because it was like, well, then this needs to be done, well, then now we gotta move this, and well, now we gotta clear this branch, and well, why don't we just cut these trees over here too? And it turned into like a whole thing, and not what we were planning for today, which stresses me out just a tad, only because A, I want that coop done so I can move those birds, and B, I'm leaving, so I need to get my video for Friday done and edited rather quickly, and it was not the intended project that was going to be filmed. So that video just basically did a complete 180 for Friday, but that's okay. I'm gonna make it work like I do. You got to roll with it, right? And these things all had to be done. And tomorrow I'm excited because the girls, Miss Ann, who's our wonderful neighbor who we think of as family, the kids drive the golf cart a lot of times. Her grandkids, or great grandkids, and Frankie rides around with them a lot in the golf cart. And I had said, I told Miss Ann was asking Morgan, she was like, hey, can you clean the golf cart, like in the next couple weeks on a Saturday when the weather's nice, or on a Sunday after church or something, just when the weather's nice one day. And I said, hey, the girls are going to be home tomorrow from school, and Morgan's spending the night. They can just hop on over and clean up the golf cart. And she was like, oh, that'd be great. Yeah, if the weather's nice and they want to do it tomorrow, that's great. So I told the girls, I was like, hey, my Polaris could use a little cleaning, because Frankie went mudding in it a few times. And I'm like, it needs a little shiny. And the golf cart, Miss Ann's golf cart, needs a little shiny. And my truck needs a little shiny. So they're going to, and my truck, I'm just asking them to clean the inside and the outside of the windshield, because it's just got a little schmegma-y. Excuse you, sir. No, he is just over here choosing violence. Bunko's just bunking out. I know. So anyway, so I told them they just need to clean the inside and the outside, and kind of just like, wipe down the dash, wipe down the inside of the doors from, like, when you get in with your boots muddy, you get it on when you're little, and you, like me, and you have to crawl into your truck like a tiny drunken crazy person that isn't drunk. I don't know, but like I always feel like I must look like I'm inebriated every time I get into my truck, because I have to grab the door, grab the oh no handle, and like grab the steering wheel, and then like hoist myself up into the truck. Otherwise I can't get in. And I know what you're saying, like, oh, get the little step up things. Those things are expensive. They're like $1,000. And I was leasing the truck. I'm still technically leasing the truck. I'm gonna be buying it next month, but once the lease is up. But I'm not gonna spend $1,000 just so I can look cooler when I get in and out of my truck. So as a result, I look like a drunk child trying to climb into my vehicle every time I am attempting to go somewhere. And when I arrive at said destination, I look like a terrified parachute jumper because I have to leap out of the vehicle and hope that I land well and stick the landing every time. So that's what it's like to be short and have really tiny legs. But anyway, so they're gonna clean out, wipe down the doors because my boots hit it when it's muddy and whatever, and they're gonna clean the inside, and there's a bunch of like all the church pamphlets end up in the truck for some reason, and the Frankie's in the back seat with them, and the trash ends up in the back seat, and I'm like, clean it out, guys. Like, I've cleaned it out so many times myself. And then I ride around with her in the car, or I ride around with Mike in the car, and then my truck is full of schmegma and debris, and I'm like, clean it up. Like the other day, one of them got a Starbucks somewhere, and the bottle is now sitting on my floorboard, and I'm like, I was like, I didn't drink that. Where did that even come from? They just chucked it on the ground, never picked it up, and I'm like, you're killing me. Because I always, whatever I run into the truck, I take out of the truck. But not everybody is as respectful of my things as I am, I suppose. But anywho, so they're going to clean it out for me tomorrow. And then they're also going to, I got this extender wand thing to clean the side of the house, which I was going to do myself. But due to a series of unfortunate events and things having to kind of change due to weather and other things that Frankie needed me to take her to go do, and that Mike needed me to go take care of and do while he was at work, my time to get some of these projects done when you're the Uber driver and the mom and the errand runner and all that, just disappeared. So I'm like, you guys are gonna do me a solid tomorrow and you're gonna pressure wash everything. So I got this big wand that attaches to the garden hose that's supposed to be like a really good one for pressure washing, and the white siding that's on the front of the house and like behind me right here on the porch, they're gonna clean all that for me because it's messy. They're gonna clean all that for me, and then I'm hoping when I get back, I'll be able to paint the ceilings blue. I was hoping I was gonna be able to do it before I left. I don't see how that's feasible because I just don't see how there's time to get it done before I leave, which is a bummer. I really wanted to get it done before I left, but I'll do it when I get back. It's fine. And then I didn't finish. I was starting a project out here that then the rain hit, and then again I ran out of time because I had to go pick up Frankie and take her into Tupelo for an appointment. So it's just been kind of like a lot with stop and start for me. So I didn't get that done either. So when I get back from California, I'll be able to kind of finish out some of those projects and get some of those things done. But the girls have been a huge help today, and they're going to be a huge help tomorrow to get some of that stuff done. And I know somebody was asking, they were like, oh, you shouldn't make the kids do that stuff. And I'm like, I'll just reiterate one more time. I know a lot of you that watch Sippin Spillin are what I would consider like our diehards. Like, you watch a lot, you try to watch every video, you interact on every video. We appreciate your guys' support so much. But in case you're running across this for the first time, Frankie is actually a hired employee. We pay her an hourly wage. She clocks in. Now, she doesn't clock in for things like emptying the dishwasher and doing the kitty litter and her household chores that come with just being a kid in the household, right? But when she's running the tractor and doing construction on the chicken coop and things, mixing concrete and doing whatever, right? When she's doing those things, she is clocked in and she is earning an hourly wage. When her friends come, like when Morgan comes over, she gets paid for her time that she is working. Now, there are times when, like today, when it's sort of a hodgepodge and there's a lot of stop and start, and I made a deal with them that like, hey, if you want to have another sleepover and hang out, I need a few hours of work out of you. And we literally didn't start working till like after 3. And like I said, It's about probably almost 6 right now, and they're kind of wrapping it up. So they might be out there a little bit longer, but they were sitting there on their phones doing selfies and listening to music a minute ago while Mike's mowing, because they finished all the tasks that they had been given. So things like that, we make a deal, and they were like, yeah, okay. So they do get paid when they are working. It's not always contingent on, oh, well, you can't spend the night unless you work. It's not always like that. But this was a situation where I had already said no sleepover. You already had a sleepover. I have too much to do. I don't want to have to run anybody back into town. I don't want, and they were just like, no, please, we promise. We'll do anything. What do you need done? We'll be your slaves. We'll organize. We'll clean. We'll whatever. And I was like, okay, fair. If you really want to sleep over that badly, and that's the price you're willing to pay, then fair. So, so that's what we're doing. They're trading some of their free time for that. So that's okay. I'm willing to work with them on that. And they're hard little workers, and they work well together. They've done enough things together now, and like today it was like a beautiful little ballet of Frankie was on the tractor, and Morgan was in the Polaris, and Mike was cutting the limbs. I was in between, in and out of the garage and getting boxes for the burn pile, and I'm watching him cut the limbs. Morgan's going over picking up the small branches. Frankie's coming over getting the big ones with the grapple and carrying them over to one big pile, and then they move that one big pile over to this big pit that we're filling, that we're going to burn out, that's eventually going to be like a pond area for the fowl and the poultry. And it needs to dry out and burn out first. But anyway, it was just like they were signals, back up, go this way. I gotta, they weren't even really talking. They just looked at each other. Yep, okay, that way. Okay, give me that. They work well together. So it's kind of cool, I think. Anyway, I love that for them. Very cool. So happy Monday, guys. Happy Easter Monday. I hope you had a pleasant holiday weekend. I hope you are feeling blessed for just another wonderful day. It's so beautiful today too. It was cold and cloudy in the morning, and then when we came out of church, it was like the clouds had lifted and the sun was shining, and it was beautiful. So it was very fitting, I thought, for such a nice service today. So I hope you had an equally nice Easter and Easter Sunday and Resurrection Day. So we will see you tomorrow, and thank you for hanging out with us, and stay blessed.